And then I took a left turn over to Nick Vial's bloated face with that fucking affected voice of his. Hey, Nick, I thought you didn't want to be connected to this franchise anymore. Why are you showing up to this thing, dude? Go back to your gentleman's box or whatever. How are you making millions with that? Oh, shit, that company went out of business, you loser. I love how people that think they're better than this thing have to constantly come back and pander to it, because this is where you make your money, Nick. Keep coming back. And by the way, we'd love to have you here as a guest. If you know,
it would be fun to have Nick in.
How'd that acting career go, you loser?
Hi, hello, welcome to another brand spanking new episode of Another Bachelor Podcast. We're back in the stew. Colton's season has premiered, and we're here to break it down. I'm Dylan, saddled up next to one, real Nicholas Davis.
What's going on, everybody?
Patrick, the producer, is behind the glass over there.
Hi, everybody. Hi. Well, I'm glad to be back.
We have to talk about what ABC did to the American audience last night. It was inappropriate. It was an abuse of power, and
lazy.
More than anything, it was just real bad TV. I mean, we loved it because we get to break it down comedically, but it was egregious and bad TV.
Yeah, you have to look at it two different ways. It gives us things to talk about, make fun of it, but as just a person that has enjoyed the franchise for a number of years, this must have been a horrible watch.
Yes. You know,
on 2 times speed, not that bad. I actually really enjoyed it. It was really exciting. I will agree, though. I mean, it's lazy. They're just stretching out an extra hour of television because this reality TV stuff is super cheap to produce, and it does the numbers.
Now, Pat, you had theorized earlier today, off mic, of course, that maybe they had a dud of a premiere episode, something that couldn't even make 2 hours. And that's why they chose to do a live production, which they have been terrible at in the past.
Absolutely. So what we talked about off mic is that Colton's first episode, for 20 fucking seasons, we've had this episode pretty much be the same thing. We got
very
some
formulaic
packages of the girls.
Yep.
Then we got the limos. Then the girls fight.
Past
and we see who
contestants giving advice.
Villains start making their way out to the front, and then the rose ceremony. I know they tried to mix it up. Okay. But you shouldn't mess with a formula that's worked for you for 20 years.
Yeah.
I just had somewhat of an epiphany. I think we're seeing this evolution and throwing in these friends of old from past seasons now. I think it's a reflection of all of these people becoming somewhat celebrities in their own right through social media. Yeah. So they're kind of draws. Like before they didn't have anything to slide in there.
That's where their perception
that's their theory.
I'll tell you, the goose is not a draw. Nobody needs to see that man ever again.
That couple's grown on me. That couple is
Do not! All right, we got to get into it. We're at the Fonda Theater with Chris Harrison.
Hey, hold on. The historic Fonda Theater.
That was a real asshole move of me.
You are remiss, sir.
Yeah, I apologize. We were at the historic Fonda Theater with Chris Harrison. Crystal and the goose are in a vat of water in the parking lot. We're at the Steam Theory Brewing Company in Dallas with JoJo and Caitlin and Chris's mother. We're at OP Rockwell in Park City with Ashley and Jared. And then the worst thing is a house party with Jason and Squareface Blake in Lansing, Michigan.
I don't like calling a state that's surrounded by water the heartland, Chris Harrison.
Oh, really?
It's Michigan. There's lakes all around it. It's bullshit. It's not.
Okay.
I don't like Michigan.
This is no place for your Midwestern gripes, okay? All right? This is an unmitigated disaster. They're cutting to people. The mics aren't up when they go to them. I mean, we have a lot of mishaps to get to.
And then let me get back to I forgot to say this in the beginning. Okay, so this whole production, in my opinion, is because Colton's first episode, he's terrible.
Yeah.
Because I didn't realize he was 26. I don't know how I missed this.
He's
whole
young
thing.
and very, very dumb. Yeah.
Well, he is not camera ready for the, like, it's when he was on Becca's season, it's easy. He can come in with the pre-prepared lines. He can be good on camera. But here, you have to carry a fucking franchise. And now the production has to figure out ways around this to keep this moving, the narrative moving. And the way they do that is with going to 7 different remotes.
But it's an extra hour. It's not like they're stretching it out. Like if they took away all that fluff, we'd have our regular 2-hour premiere, I feel like.
It's the way they kept cutting back and forth. Like if we had just watched this in chronological order like we have in the past, I think we would have all, because everyone hates Colton. Bachelor Nation has said they did not want this guy to be.
Colton.
No, they did a poll of how do you feel, who should be the next Bachelor. Colton was 5. Wills was 4. I'm telling you, this was their way to keep the energy up. It's almost like being at it's like a false energy they were creating around this episode that's really not there for this guy.
Right. You were talking about Colton not being camera ready. I think pretty much every person they cut to and asked to help carry a live 3-hour broadcast was not camera ready. The media training for all these people was act like you're a superhero at a kid's birthday party. Just be happy, be energetic, and be loud. And it was just excruciating.
A couple of these people were really trying to seize their moment on television, namely Jason and namely Jared, right?
Rat face Jared with Ashley Iconti.
Let's go ahead and listen to a little bit of Jared.
Well, we're about to find out how Colton and his ladies handle it on this upcoming season. But first, it's night 1. It's limo night. Are you ready to meet Colton's ladies? They're ready here in Park City. We're ready. Let's do this.
Wow. Thanks to Ashley and Jared. And who knew Jared had the hosting chops?
Let's do this.
Well, first off, I hate him. He is only with this Ashley Iconti chick because he wants to be back on television. He didn't want anything to do with her because she's a disgusting human being.
Wow, that's quite a
no. But he
an
realized,
opinion.
like, hey, no one's liking my photos on Instagram anymore. And then she's still calling, going like, hey, because she is diabolical. Let's team up. You and I get back together.
That's very
We'll
cynical.
take over the nation. They'll get us back on TV together. We'll produce a 45-minute video talking about our undying love for each other, which they did.
She doesn't sound like that.
Well, all right, maybe I'm not doing such a good imitation, but it's the same thing. It's the same thing.
Yeah. I'm trying to think about who else. I mean, Jason is slick-back weirdo.
Scott Baio, as I referred him last season, he's horrible, and he's happy to be on TV again.
You know, Blake actually looked pretty thick and pretty strong, tall, and composed. I mean, he kind of had a dumb face every once in a while, and I think he was just like pumping his fist at one point. So as I say this, I'm kind of going to reel that back in. Everyone was absolutely terrible, and even worse, I'm going to come off as an asshole saying this, but I turned this program on to see beautiful people, and the people they showed in these towns they were filthy, yucky normies. I don't need to see filthy, yucky normies on the premiere episode of The Bachelor.
Speak your truth, Dylan.
Sammy is, she looks like she just broke out of a methadone clinic, and
I don't. Who's Sammy?
I believe that was a remote where they asked a random fan who her favorite was. Was this the one that liked Ben?
yeah.
Dylan.
So fucking mean. She seems like a nice lady. She just has so many bracelets on and teeth missing.
Do you think Ben fucked her?
Jesus Christ. All right, we need to get away from the studio audience.
Let's talk about anything. What do we like about the show, fellas?
We loved the girls getting out of the limo. Not because we're creepy weirdos or anything like that.
I feel like you didn't even have to specify that.
We just knew that when the gals were getting out of the limos, the fun was starting. Not because we're creepy weirdos. That's just how the show goes.
You keep repeating it, and I feel like it does not have to be said.
But before we get to that, we need to talk about, unfortunately, a lot of other stuff. But this is the actual episode. It's not the studio show. We have to talk about the preview package with Colton really quickly. He's under the shower a lot this episode. He's bathing quite a bit.
The first time we see him is with his shirt off with water hitting his pecs.
Yeah. And I have to say, again, I've said this before, but this guy cannot get abs. Like, he's attractive, he's big, he's strong, but put the ropes down, buddy. Stop doing curls and bud those ab muscles out. Get a six-pack.
He doesn't want to stop eating, Dylan. That's the issue. All these Nick Vial, where he had that beautiful six-pack, he has like a diet plan.
Right.
Abs are built in the kitchen.
Colton is a meathead, and he loves pizza, but he also loves spending 4 hours at the gym every day.
Yeah.
And since you have and thus you have a meathead body. And
Right.
so when I heard later on in the episode, not to get ahead of myself, oh, his body's so good. Fuck you. Fuck you. He's a guy, like, if he stops going to the gym for 2 weeks, you got baby Huey there.
I don't know what that's in reference
Yeah, it's
to.
a little chubby baby guy.
I knew it was someone chubby. I'm good at context clues. But I will say Colton's lack of abs, I think, really reflects a lack of discipline.
Right.
Because I'm not saying you have to walk around looking shredded like The Rock all the time.
Yeah.
But hey, you're going to be on national television. The shower scene's a staple. Do a Nick Vial. Cut for 6 weeks, a very disciplined cut.
Yeah.
I'm sure he wasn't looking like that by the end of the season.
And work on your fucking abs. What are you doing? Okay, so Chris Harrison sits down with Colton, and they have a conversation about how some people think Colton's not ready to be the Bachelor because he is a virgin.
Did Chris say that?
Yeah.
In this part?
Yes,
I don't think he's not ready to be the Bachelor because he's a virgin. I think it's because he's too young. All last season, we made fun of, on Ari's season, that Becca, who I called Terry from Just One of the Guys, she was 23 and the youngest girl, and they said she's too young to be in a committed relationship, actually looking for marriage or a serious relationship.
Nobody likes you when you're 23.
The entire cast of contestants, the average age is 23 and he's 26.
Yeah. It's the exact opposite of what we want. We want older people.
Oh, hot take.
Yeah.
Hot take moment. Oh, hot take.
First hot take of the season, guys.
Yeah, this
All
is
right.
huge.
All right. So when we went to the historic Honda Theater. No? Henry Fonda Theater? I don't know what it is. What is it? I don't know.
Well, one of those.
You did like a Frankenstein word with Henry and Fonda, and you called it the Honda Theater.
It's a car manufacturer.
There's the Honda Center.
Let me make my point.
Yeah.
The point is, they showed old fuckface Chris Harrison out there doing the start of the show with every 4,000 college girls walking through. This may be the Bachelor franchise's experiment into, hey, let's start getting younger bachelors. Let's start treating this like MTV used to do, like The Real World or something like. Because if you really think about it, Ari was like almost 40.
Yeah.
And at
That
the
was
beginning,
a low-rated season too, right?
Yeah. Oh my God. So
Or
there's
no,
your hot
was-
take, people.
Was Ari the low-rated season or was Becca? Can't remember. It doesn't matter. They were both kind of bad. Chris Harrison is having a conversation with Colton, the young bachelor. Maybe they are testing this out, telling him that he's not ready, or saying that people think he's not ready, and more so that people may think he's not a man because he hasn't slept with someone.
Oh, I caught that line.
What the fuck was that?
It was so hardcore. He's like, I don't know, Colton. Some people say you're not a man because you're fucked. I'm not saying it. I'm not saying it.
Then he pushes him.
You a man, Colton? You
Hold on to the football. Dude, real quick aside, I watched Friday Night Lights recently, the film. That father, the fumbling kid, the guy that fumbles the football, it is insane how important the security of the football is to the father. he wraps his son's hands in duct tape and starts punching him in the chest. And that's like 15 minutes into the movie.
You're not going to win games if you turn the ball over. So, way to go, Pops. And also, there's a character in that show, franchise, movie, book named Booby.
Yeah.
Do you know why?
Miles.
Yeah. Do you know why all the Permian Panthers scores are all so lopsided? Because they only got one booby.
So
I much prefer the book by Buzz Kissinger.
So Colton goes back to showering, and we've got a crumb cruncher package, which is I'm sure what Patrick wrote down.
Well, first off, I don't like seeing fat children. So I was very disturbed by this. But this kid was fat until he was 19 years old. Let me give
Who are
the
you talking about?
Colton, he was a chubby kid. He was eating cookies all day. He was really fat and ugly. And let me tell you something. All right, actually, let me lay down basically his entire life.
Okay, but really quickly, I was talking about the package of all of the children of past contestants. You know that, right?
Oh, I thought you were talking about the package of cookies that Colton ate.
Clear misunderstanding, but I'm very intrigued by what you're about to say, so continue.
Oh, okay. So Colton was a fat kid, all right, which is why he's a weirdo now. So
Well said.
They had a bunch of pictures of him right up until like 19 making the pros. Oh, wait, never actually made the pros.
He said made the NFL too. How can you live with
Oh, they
yourself?
actually had one still shot
Yeah, he
of him,
wore
and
a
I think an
jersey
Atlanta
in a
Falcons
preseason
in a
game.
preseason
Chargers.
game. Okay, so well, Dylan, you'll probably. I don't want to step on this. You're going to talk about his season of football. Or?
No, go for it.
Oh, okay. So, all right. So his parents pay for him to go through college. Then he goes through like 2 years of almost making the pros through 4 teams. Actually never plays in a professional game. Says football was his life. Mm-hmm. The next year, he ends up on Becca's season. This is his life. This is his life experience. The man has never had a real job.
Yeah.
The man has never experienced life. Yeah. And now this is the guy that we're saying, oh, let's watch him fall in love.
Yeah.
He does have a young cousin that's drowning above water.
Yep. Cystic fibrosis is a horrible disease, and I am so happy that Colton is doing everything he can to help kill it.
Do you guys remember what your brains were at 26? I mean, that was just 4 years ago for Nick and 2 for you, Dylan. You're not prepared for some kind of thing like this. You're ready to fall in love. God, I hate this show.
Well, I would do a little bit better than Colton, I think, cognitively, maybe. The problem is I'm covered in hair and have a soft, loose body, so I don't think that I would be the best bachelor. But we must move on in the episode. Let's get to the actual Crumb Cruncher package now.
All right, so I call this time-wasting segment number 1. This is where we go back and we have to see all the past losers that shit out a bunch of kids.
Yep.
We had Carly, Evan, the dick doc. We got Tristan, who's looking good, but her husband, Ryan, not aged well.
I will say I thought most of these children were adorable.
Absolutely adorable.
Except for, of course, Jason and Molly's eldest. I believe you knew his name was Max.
Looks
Max.
like he's going to be a pothead.
Definitely could see him being a pothead. Also reminded me of Meredith's son from The Office.
Yes, absolutely.
That angry young child who actually came back like 6 seasons later and stripped at a party, and Meredith stuck a dollar, but she was very proud of her young entrepreneurial son.
Meredith? His mother stuck a bill.
Yes.
I really tuned out the last couple of seasons.
It got real bad. Nellie is one of my least favorite television characters of all time.
Who is Nellie?
Oh, she's played by someone kind of famous. She's redheaded.
Yeah. Speaking of redheaded and Meredith, it's Kimmy Schmidt. What's her name?
That's not who I'm talking about.
Oh.
I loved her. Her name was Nellie. She was only in like the last season. I feel like we should talk about ABC's The Bachelor.
We totally should, but I do have to say my favorite Meredith moment of all time is when Phyllis and Vance are getting married and they have bachelor and bachelorette parties, and there's gonna be a stripper for the girls, and Angela says, "I don't think this is appropriate," and Meredith goes, "Shut up, Angela!"
That is a great moment.
An hour of television has passed, and we are now almost getting to the girls coming out of the limo. We've got Alexis in Dallas, which everybody was terrible, I thought, except for Alexis. She's a natural. What are you going to
Are
say?
you talking about Dolphin Girl?
Yes.
Oh, when they announced that she was going to hey, we have another surprise.
They did a bad job.
Oh, so they didn't build the hype up enough for her to come out? When she came out, it like sucked the energy out of the room. The applause stopped, all the crazy panned cheers. Like, I was sad for Dolphin Girl when she didn't get like
The
thunderous
producers
applause.
did a bad job giving the applause sign, and JoJo and Caitlyn did a bad job introing her. When Alexis was on camera, she stole the show. She's incredible, and she should be on camera in the future. She's a talent.
She's absolutely gorgeous. She's so funny, and then they had to cut her time short to go
Yeah.
to this first bullshit proposal.
Yeah, I was going to say, you know who's not funny and gorgeous? These two lanky normies getting married to each other.
You cut Alexis's time for these people. It's baffling.
Well, all right. So
Why are we watching people we don't know get engaged?
I want to. This must be a new producer because they fired that other guy, Elon, that douchebag, or something. I don't know. But
I actually think the whispers are he's going to be producing a reality TV show with Jade and Tanner.
I think that he
Oh,
was
wow.
outraged that they were putting forward a gay contestant to be the Bachelor, and he probably left.
That's
but
possible.
anyways.
Can I get back to these two people in the proposal?
Yeah.
All right. So their story is they were dating, and then she left for the summer, and this
Right.
time he couldn't let her go.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let me tell you something, because I've had the same experience many times.
Yeah.
This girl you're about to put a ring on.
Yeah.
You want to know what she was doing in the summer that you guys were together? Taking massive loads on her head. I mean, I know that's crass.
On her head? On her head?
Do you think people will find this crass? I mean, seems pretty.
Yeah, I don't know why you're being so paranoid, Pat.
Seems like perfectly acceptable, appropriate conversation.
But that's the story. She's going away for the summer. What do you think she's doing, dude? This is a
Taking
desperate
loads on her
guy.
head. That is absolutely insane. So now,
The Devil's Elmers. Come.
okay, let's get to the girls.
Really quickly, at one
Yes.
point they had Chris Harrison was at a table with a couple of familiar faces.
Will's.
Nick Vial.
Nick
those
Vial,
dumb
and those
fucking glasses.
who were those three women? It was Sarah, Tinley, and
I know
Holly.
what Tinley. I know who you have your eye on. Or she's from like 6 seasons back. That obviously didn't work out with whoever picked her. Super hot. My eye
Okay.
went right to her, and then I took a left turn over to Nick Vial's bloated face with that fucking affected voice of his. Hey, Nick, I thought you didn't want to be connected to this franchise anymore. Why are you showing up to this thing, dude? Go back to your gentleman's box or whatever. How are you making millions with that? Oh, shit, that company went out of business, you loser. I love how people that think they're better than this thing have to constantly come back and pander to it, because this is where you make your money, Nick. Keep coming back. And by the way, we'd love to have you here as a guest. If you know,
It would be fun to have Nick in.
how'd that acting career go, you loser? Big acting career. And he's not being paid to be here, by the way. He's showing up there for fucking free. I just want to say that. No one's paying this loser to be there to show up to this thing. He showed up on his own. Oh, I want to distance myself from that. Oh, you've been on 4 seasons of it. Nick Vial, you're a fucking loser.
We have to get to the girls coming out of the limos. Again, we're cresting an hour here, and we're just getting to this. So, who comes out first? Heather?
Demi
Demi.
the interior designer or something. That's a
Yes.
real job, by the way. I like that.
Yeah, so Demi has one of the more interesting pre-rolls that we see on account of her mother is in a federal penitentiary. Should she make it to hometowns, this will be some of the best television we've ever seen.
Not since Dean's dad.
Yeah.
Have we seen dysfunction like this
Yeah,
at home?
yeah.
Really, really hoping this happens, and I believe it will. The way Chris Harrison teased it.
Yeah, and we all know how Dean turned out. He was so sweet on the show as an actor and a predator, and then we realize he's just a womanizing scumbag. And I'm sure much the same with her as people come from hard scrabble upbringings. Did you guys notice her eyes are very crossed?
I don't know. I didn't notice that. I thought she was very pretty, but I don't think that she comes from a rough background. I think her mom went to prison for embezzlement.
Writing bad checks, I think.
Writing bad checks, huh?
Is embezzlement?
I think when you take someone else's checkbook and you start writing checks for yourself, I believe that's what that is.
I'm so dumb. I just assume all white-collar crime is committed by rich people, but I don't feel that that's the case. Okay. I can't get a read on Demi. I mean, I think she's going to make it a long way. She's got a lot of sass. She's very, very confident, and she talks down to people because she reminds me of Terry in that way. She's very young, but she has this
one of the guys.
This inflated emotional intelligence that makes her think that she's older than she is.
She's definitely very confident. Some of her confidence, I believe, was overshadowed later by the Catherine because of her multiple interruptions. But she was the first one to steal Colton.
Yes, she was.
Definitely a very confident young lady.
Okay, who gets out next? Is it Heather?
It is Heather.
I'm going to say something that I may get into some hot water for because we don't want to make fun of people's looks, but she has the thinnest head I've ever seen. It lacks depth. It's squished like a pancake.
It's very coincidental that she's never been kissed because I noticed that geometric feature of her as well, and it looks like someone squished Demi. Oh no, I'm sorry. Drew Barrymore. It looks like someone, the star, of course, of Never Been Kissed, the theatrical.
Got it.
The theatrical film. But yeah, if you just took her cheeks and just pushed it together, boom, that's Hannah.
Now, see, I was thinking more the front to the back. Like kind of squished like that. The thin round head.
There's a saltwater fish off the Philippines called a tang. Very, very, very thin face. Actually, it was Dory in Finding Nemo.
Got it.
I'd also use that as a metaphor.
She looks like the cucumber in VeggieTales.
Yeah, like a
This first episode is the one where we get ourselves, as you mentioned, in hot water. And I just always want to reiterate, go back and listen to our Guy episodes. We're just as critical. How much do we have to talk about Colton's gut? We're not misogynistic. We're just very superficial.
Got it.
Yeah.
All right. So, a lot of people were like, she's never kissed anybody. There's no way. I have known people like this. I used to go to church recreationally for some fucking reason. There are girls that exist in those circles. She's very religious. She has to be very religious. And I totally buy that she's never kissed anybody.
I know some girls that play that game, but also give BJs or something on the side.
Just handies, just right and left. Handies. She's working like pistons, but both hands.
Hey, wait.
Go to a movie with Heather.
If you've ever slept with a prostitute, they'll never kiss you, okay? But they'll let you, like...
It's too intimate.
Yes.
Can we talk, Pretty Woman? Can we talk about... I was going to get to this, but now that we're on the topic of being a little less than honest, Alabama, we're going to get to her. But
Alabama Hannah.
When she says that she's only kissed 4 guys, you're like, oh, she's very reserved. She's like, I have had sex, but I've only kissed 4 guys. And I was like, that's really burying the lead there.
Dude, I think it's just like Heather. Only kiss 4 guys, sex with thousands.
All righty, hot water. We're going to move on.
And you can't even count the handies.
Ew. He's in a robe, too.
I am in a robe.
He's in a robe right now saying handies. Nicole gets out next. She is the Latina and says in Spanish, you have half of my heart. My other half is in Havana. Yeah. He says, is that where you're from? She says, no, I'm from Miami.
My parents were born.
Never been there. Because of the Camila Cabello song?
She's very annoying. Nicole's going to grow to annoy us. I know she seems cute now, but that's...
I do think she's cute.
I don't think she seems cute. I do think that she is a beautiful soul, though, because her brother is... pretty challenged, and I was listening to John C. McGinley today talk about his child who has Down syndrome, and he said something very moving. Even if you've never been great at anything, when you have a child or a sibling with mental disorder, you have the opportunity to be great at something. And I think Nicole is great at something. Unfortunately,
John C. McGinley, one of the underrated actors of his generation.
I want to play a round of golf with Johnny C more than most people in the world.
Did I mention Zach Braff is having sex with a 14-year-old?
Nope. So we should get to Kaylin now, right?
Kaylin.
Sydney. Oh, yeah, the Miss North Carolina.
Is this Miss North Carolina, Kaylin? All right, guys. I mean, I don't want to keep talking about looks, but what is going on with lips in this country? Why is everybody's lips fucked? Kylie Jenner is blowing everybody's fucking lips up.
It's the Kardashians. Look, women do this for women, not for men. We hate it. That's one of the things I had to understand as a young man is that women with all the makeup and all the crap they do all day long, that's not for us.
Why do women wear makeup and perfume? Because they're ugly and they smell bad.
Dude, that joke has never aged. In 1982, on that bus ride, Davy Clark told me that. I'm laughing the same.
Yeah. God, it's so good. Here's another one.
I was shocked. Is that the first time you've heard that, Dylan?
That's so funny.
That was such a treat to be able to be the first one to say that to
Yeah,
you.
another reminds me of another scene from The Office when Michael says, you know what my favorite part about Hooters is? And then a big-breasted woman walks past him and he turns back and says, the boobs and the chicken wings.
I will say goodbye to our 5-star rating. But if you do really love this type of humor, why don't you hop in there and battle back the other way? Give us that 5-star.
Yeah, throw a jab or two. So let's talk about Kaylin. Kaylin confuses me, or rather the governing body of the Miss USA pageant confuses me. She says that she is from, Maryland or was it Alabama or Tennessee? I don't know where the fuck
Not
she's
from North Carolina.
She moved to North Carolina a year ago and won Miss North Carolina. What the fuck is going on?
I wonder if this is going to be news to the people and she's going to have to give back her title like when that one girl posed in Playboy a long time ago from my early childhood. I don't know. Remember the details?
Nick, there's a number of girls that have been winners of state pageants and then done porn prior to winning. So the vetting system is not what it probably used to be.
Yeah.
When Donald Trump's doing the picking, you're going to get some loosey-goosey women.
Very, very sad that loosey-goosey women. Well, I think some of them are. It's very sad.
If you're doing porn, I would consider you loosey-goosey, Dylan.
In summation, Kaylin's a beautiful girl, of course, but I just hate that there's this bird box monster-like thing that's sweeping over so many young women in this country and blowing their goddamn fucking lips up. I don't know what the hell they're doing, but anyways.
I'm not a fan.
Let's move on to Sydney. I don't know who she is.
NBA dancer, dude.
Oh, God.
She said she had the choice to either keep her job or be there in front of Colton, and she chose wrong.
Yeah.
I don't know if our listeners know this. I don't know how I know this. Maybe a lot of people know this. As an NBA dancer, you generally get paid like $50 a game or something really low like that.
It's pathetic.
Now, Sydney has an amazing body, a dancer's body.
Yeah. Okay, moving on. I think it is a... Yes.
Before you move on.
No, I'm not moving on.
Okay.
I just wanted to continue talking about Sydney and not get to her face, which I had a feeling that Patrick had thoughts about. It is a wild move to throw a guilt trip out first thing you say. I mean, she literally is like, hey, left my job and my life to come be here with you. My name's Sydney.
The only thing worse would be giving him a pet to take care of. What kind of burden? Getting ahead of myself. Colton says he's a really bad dancer, and she was like, I'll teach you. That's what we're here for.
Yeah.
I really hope someone clues this misinformed woman in. That is not what you were. You were here to try to win this man's heart, not to teach him to dance. That's a different show.
It's a completely different show, and you have to be much better at dancing to be in a position to teach C-list celebrities. She's not going to be a part of that show.
I think you're underestimating her skills.
You think?
I bet Sydney can move.
Well, I'll tell you, if she keeps pushing this dancing on this very, very insecure bachelor and who doesn't like to dance, he will get rid of her real fast.
Oh, you think he's He's not going to have much more dancing, or he's going to kick her.
My wife was one wedding away from me dumping her if she insisted I go out on the dancing floor at the wedding. I hated it so much I had to pop like 8 Vicodin just to get through the night.
Are you one of the townspeople from Footloose? Jesus Christ, Patrick.
Where's your pitchfork?
I almost called him Kevin Bacon. That's not right. He liked dancing.
Speaking of dancing and disputes with our wives, when she teaches Colton how to do the waltz, I think this is where some of my apprehension to buy into her dancing skills comes in, but also she could have just been giving him a beginner's lesson. But I said, anybody can waltz. Anyone can waltz.
That's true.
And Cece said, you can't waltz. And I said, get up right now. And we waltzed in the middle of the living room. She wouldn't touch my hands, though, because I had recently picked a scab.
But we waltzed.
The footwork was flawless because any dumbass can waltz.
Maybe he should have learned to dance when he was trying out for these NFL teams. It's not like footwork doesn't help on the football field, right?
Yeah,
the gridiron, you can use some twinkle toes.
Yeah, exactly. All right, let's get to Elise. Who is this?
The redhead with the 1920s hair, definitely a pill popper.
My only note, no shot.
Okay, let's get to Schwazon.
Great sauce. Tejuan sauce. That's what they sold at McDonald's, right?
Let's get to Tejuan.
I have no notes for her.
I put pass.
Jesus Christ. All right, Cassie is up next. What do we think?
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Just one of the first people to pull out something a little bit unique, and she had her box of fake butterflies.
Yeah.
And I thought that was pretty cute.
Now, see, I didn't think it made any sense whatsoever. She opened a box. There were fake butterflies inside. I think she had to prompt Colton to pick one up and then dumped everything out.
No, you're misremembering. She just dumped them out because they were getting rid of butterflies. They both had butterflies. They were getting rid of them. It was a great metaphor. You're an idiot. But
I got the metaphor. I thought it was stupid. It didn't make any sense to do.
I thought it was cute, but a huge thing he did pick one up, but that was as she walked in. It was a little keepsake. I think we may be seeing this butterfly later this season. Hot take.
I am a huge fan of Cassie. I think she is going to be, and I will call it now, she will be in the final 3 of this here season of The Bachelor.
I put her in top 5. That was one of my notes because she had one of those early packages. We kind of skipped over the packages, but she was the first one that we learned. Speech pathologist, very pretty blonde. She surfs. Yeah.
Absolutely gorgeous. She's active, and she has an actual career path. She also has a lot of great time with Colton, teaching him sign language. She seems like a normal human being, and they have a normal interaction. How you do that with Colton, I'm not sure, but she, made her way through that minefield.
Gentlemen, I hate to always go back, but if I may, because I did some research on this, the butterfly thing, a major staple in wedding ceremonies. I don't know why we let go of butterflies at a nuptial. Turns out, in general, while it seems very beautiful to have butterflies in a box, while they're fluttering around in the box, they knock precious, salt or whatever's on their wings off each other. Yes. So while they fly away, they are quickly eaten by predators.
I think Cassie may have noticed this, hence why she used fake butterflies, but far less effective when they just fall on the ground instead of fly away.
Yeah. It's less of a sight. Can we move on?
Yeah.
Let's get to Kirpa. Pat, do you have an impression of her family?
They don't even do this in The Simpsons anymore. Pat, hit it.
Hello. Let me tell you something.
Pat, if you're going to do this, you got to turn the music down.
No, hold on. I need the music. If I'm going to choose the Bachelor, he needs to open up his mouth, and I need to look and make sure he flosses. That's...
Okay.
Very important that he flosses. Hey, bitch, you're not calling out the shots here. I don't care if the guy has halitosis. He's the Bachelor. Treat him with some goddamn respect.
That was the loudest sitar ever.
I
And
like Kerpa.
I like Kerpa too. I think she's absolutely gorgeous.
Very hot. Half Indian, by the way.
I
Half Indian.
do have to say, you're getting at something that I've talked about a lot, and that is I think that the oral health industry and field has unreasonable expectations of its patients. Flossing twice a day it's nuts. It's too big an ask. Do you do it?
No.
Patrick, do you floss twice a day?
Probably 14 times a day. I have.
Are you kidding?
Yeah, no, I have those pics like usually in my wallet.
I do love those pics. If I have those pics, I floss more.
Right. But nobody has those pics.
Yeah, you can buy them at the 99-cent store. You can get like 500 of them
I know, but where do you put them?
in your wallet.
You put them in your wallet? You
Yeah.
sit down on that all day and then you shove it in your mouth?
Oh, yeah.
String it in between your teeth to get yucks out?
Oh, my wife and I were so gross. We actually there'll be one just laying in the bathroom, and we'll share it.
Oh, that's disgusting.
Yeah, it is.
The stuff that is stuck at the top of your gums is some of the most vile stuff in your mouth. That's where your breath comes from.
I always think
Bad
a real.
breath.
Now the bad breath comes from the back of your tongue. Actually, I used to have a rap song that you got to hit the back of the tongue because that's where the bad breath from.
You used to have a rap song? What does that mean?
Well, no, I wrote a few rap songs, but that was one of the songs.
Could you drop a few
Wrote?
bars?
Well, I just gave you one, man. That was the first verse.
You wrote a few rap songs?
This is new. This is new news.
Why?
Well, no, when I was 14, and I used to like scrape the back of my tongue, and I was like, what is all this stuff back here?
Oh my God.
Like, are they recorded anyplace?
Oh yeah, dude. Or I'll just do like next episode. I'll do a bunch of them.
Is this like you Uber driving or do you rap? Because I believe it.
First off, Nick, I have a lot of jobs. I'm a black culture specialist and Uber driver.
You install fish tanks.
Yes.
You're a gentleman of the evening.
Mm-hmm.
You're a chef.
No.
Yes, and we need to move on now. All right, who gets out next? Caitlin. Oh, this is the young lady that pops his cherry. I think she's from Canada. She's nice enough. I think she's lovely.
And this is the first time we see Colton is not good with fruit. I thought it was an apple.
I thought her name was Courtney.
Caitlin
No,
popped the
it's-
cherry.
It's Caitlin.
Courtney
is up next.
Also with fruit, but I want to say about the pop the cherry thing.
Yes.
Second thing we've seen relating to him being a virgin.
Yeah.
I
Chris has said it 3 times already.
Yeah, from the women out of the limo,
Right,
people
okay.
who alluded to it.
Yeah.
Demi was the first one out. She said she hadn't dated a virgin until she was 12.
I don't know what that means.
She's me neither. But I would have loved if the first person who mentioned it, Colton, just would have been like, "You're fucking done. Get out right now." Just send a message that this is not going to come up.
It's
Except
crazy.
it was Demi that did it first, and she's pretty hot.
That could have happened because there's a little, we get a little preview of Colton jumping a fence, and he does it at a superhuman efficiency, like he's Venom or
You're
something.
talking about as the episode. It was the package of the trailer for the future episodes. That was very
Yes.
weird. What is he running away from? Exactly.
His true sexual orientation. Let's get to Courtney, who brings him an unripe peach. He takes a bite of that, and what are you fucking bristling at? You don't know the texture of ripe fruit? You can't hear the texture of ripe fruit? You can't see it on screen? He takes a bite out of a peach, and he tears. You don't tear at a ripe peach. You sink through it.
There were a number of people on the interwebs mentioning how he does not know how to eat a peach. You need to just savor that juiciness. What is he, Charlie from Always Sunny in Philadelphia, who's never had a fucking peach in their life? He literally
wasn't
said
that he has never had a peach. It's
said
not a ripe peach.
Oh, it did crunch.
It crunched.
It crunched, yeah.
Courtney is a very dumb human being, and we'll get to this later, but I think she's probably at the bottom of the totem pole in terms of IQ. I mean, she's astoundingly stupid. Let's get to Katie now, who performs a magic trick, I believe.
A really weak-ass one.
Yeah.
She gives Colton a deck of cards, tells him not to look at it. He definitely looked at it and probably saw and got super pissed off again that someone's referencing the virginity thing.
Yeah.
She gives it back. She's like, just took your V card. But again, I just wish he would have been like, get the fuck out of here.
All right.
I should say at this point, all right, so there's a lot of things happening. We keep going back to those remotes. They're having virgin cocktails. There's so many references.
Oh, God.
We're up to our fucking eyeballs in references to this idiot not throwing dick around prior to being
when
on
they
the show.
say they're drinking virgin cocktails, where was that in Park Slope in Utah or wherever the fuck it was? Jared is just a revolting human being.
Rat boy.
Oh my God. He really had to turn it on because his fiance or his wife, I don't know what the fuck they are, she actually does have some on-camera experience, and he's just like overshadowing her the entire time. I'm like, let Ashley do her thing. You sound like a moron.
Well, you didn't catch this at the later half when they'd cut to them. They took the mic away from him. That's how bad he was. They took the mic away from him. But she was terrible too, and she should be better because she does like shit for E and whatever.
Yeah.
They were like, if you call him Colon one more time, he did it. Cut his mic. Cut the mic.
Yeah, exactly. All right, we've got to get
First costume person.
We've got to get to Alex, who I loved. I absolutely loved until she removed the costume and was herself. I do have to say though, it was crazy what a bait and switch that was because I was in love with that sloth. The commitment was incredible.
Staying in character for that long in a costume, like every girl that dreams to be on this franchise wants to put on the heels, the skirt, get her hair all done up, look hot.
Yeah.
And to be willing to get into a sweaty costume,
Right.
but not take it off the second you go in the house. They have her stay in that costume the entire time to the point where, like, who knows how long she was in there. I kind of felt bad for that person, and I hoped for a lot better treatment of her, although she's a drunk.
See,
Wow.
hot take. You mentioned how much you loved it. To be honest, initially I did not love it. It was really pissing me off. I was like, let's get to the next girl. But as you said, the commitment was unmatched. When she was hanging from a tree, now she completely swung me. I was pro sloth.
Nice! I saw what you did there.
What?
It saw what she did there because she hung from a tree at one point. I don't know if you saw this.
But then you said in a play of words, it completely swung you.
Oh, I didn't even. Yeah, that was intentional.
Totally.
I'm a wordsmith.
The problem with the costume is, while it's funny and I do admire her commitment. I mean, we were looking at Alexis, like she just comes out in a costume. She's like, I'm a dolphin. This woman is hanging from trees and really laying into it. Even in her interviews, she's taking a long time to say things. But then she takes off her costume and, Pat, do you want to take care of the aesthetic of her?
I don't have a lot of notes. Mainly they're just she's not that good looking, and I, as I mentioned earlier, I'm pretty confident she is a full on alcoholic.
Right. She has very erratic behavior. She's talking a lot. He says, I love sloths, and this is when I knew that she wasn't a sloth at heart because she goes, why?
Yeah.
This was all a ruse? You don't love sloths? That's not why you got in that costume? Clearly not. Bye-bye, Alex.
Let's just start fucking flying through these ladies, huh?
It's not a good call. It never works out coming in a costume. No one has ever gotten far in this competition going the costume route. It's silly.
David got surprisingly far, but only because he had his manufactured rivalry with Jordan.
And he fell and shattered his face.
That was funny.
All right. We have now got to get to Okechwa.
Anye Kachukuchu. Anye Kachukuchu.
Is that right?
It's Anye Kachukwu. That was right. Anye Kachukwu.
I hope
Does
she
she
gets
have
eliminated.
Does she have a shortened version of her name?
Anyeka.
Anyeka.
Anyeka Chukwu. Chukwu. It's Kwu. But he butchers it even when he gives her the rose.
Well, we can't expect Colton
He's meeting 30 girls. Even a smart guy would have fudged this. Jesus Christ. Give
That's
us
fair.
slack.
That's fair.
Yeah, well, is she the one that takes it upon herself to go have a conversation with the one that's on Xanax?
Yes.
Okay, we'll get to that in a minute. I am not a fan of this person at all. At all, I don't like her one bit. Do you guys have anything to say about her?
Just that you're making me get ahead of myself,
Yeah,
but
we
I'll
won't,
wait
we
for
won't.
it. But I did like how she said he's a snack and Mama's ready to eat.
Oh,
Yum.
nice.
Erica,
Give some peanuts.
Erica McNutt,
got it. And we've got Alabama up next.
No sash. which I
Alabama
appreciate.
Hannah.
I like that she didn't wear a sash. Wearing a sash is stupid. Why would you wear one? One thing I do want to say is during her pre-roll, too much of her identity is tethered to the state of Alabama, and that's never a good thing. Calm the fuck down. It's a football team, and it's a college football team. He says roll tide, and she's taken aback, like he said some magical fucking phrase. Again, calm down. It's a college football team.
No, you're right. You didn't choose where you were born. You just happen to be from there. I understand the irony because of my pride in being from Wisconsin.
You have pride about being from Wisconsin, but I guess I was going to say that if you were being introed, you wouldn't lead with I'm from Alabama. The problem is
I oftentimes introduce myself to people as Nick Davis, Lacrosse, Wisconsin. So
that is why I wanted to reel that back. But anyways.
Hey, guys, I just want to make sure everyone understands who this person was. She's 23, but I will say, I don't know if it's on the count of bad genetics and all, but looks 10 years older than me.
All right, next up, we've got a cop car. The second I saw that cop car in the pre-roll, I knew that that was not going to be a real police officer, but a vehicle that someone used to drive in. Turns out to be the fashion police. Pat?
Tracy, she does something that I think most straight men would not appreciate, which is she evaluates his fashion choices, states herself as the fashion police, gives him some handcuffs, and he says, I'll save this for the fantasy room.
Yeah, getting ahead of yourself, buddy.
yeah, so he doesn't run out of there crying.
Yeah, well, good one.
It was.
All right, I think we can move on to, I think we can blow through these. I mean, Alex B doesn't talk. She's a dog rescuer. She's got cue cards. I think that's a pretty solid
Dog
move.
whisperer, yeah.
Because she kind of, leaves him wanting a little bit more. I've never even heard the way you sound, so I'll keep you around. Next up is Bree.
The annoying fake Australian girl.
Yeah.
That was very annoying.
Yes. We talked about it in the preview episode. You were a fan of her.
I thought this was a genius move. Maybe if she wasn't as hot to me, then I wouldn't think it was, but she's gorgeous. She pulled it off, and I think it will be a great reveal later when we see her and Colton talk, and she admits that she is not, in fact,
How
Aussie.
incorrect a take could you possibly have?
Well, I read into this. I don't know if because I drink a lot during this show. If I mentioned when we talked about this before, I don't like this move because it means you're trying to be an actor. You think you're talented in doing voices.
Yeah.
Hey, I don't need the funny girl, okay? You're showing up here for love.
I think that your take on Bree is, you saw her do this before we had really gotten to know her. And we don't really get to know her tonight, but she does clue us in on who she is live at the historic Fonda Theater when she meets
The Honda Theater.
a friend of the show, Lily McWoos. What?
McManus.
Lily McManus in court.
I love Lily.
Lily's absolutely wonderful. She does a terrific job because she is and only is herself.
Yes, she's a real person.
Yes.
Jesus Christ. I have to say, Courtney, her sidekick there.
Yeah.
I don't know how much he's been drinking or what he's been up to.
Very accusatory tonight.
Oof. He looked beat up, busted, broken down by the side. Like, he looked worked over.
Well,
He
he's
looked like
lost
he
the
did-
love of his life, Lily McManus, and now he has to stand next to her. It's very taxing.
I
on
don't
a
think
young
she
man.
should be dating a 52-year-old man.
He is not a 52-year-old man. Neither is Bree. Weird segue. But she does say she comes clean about the Australian thing and says that, in fact, she's not Australian. This is after she continues to speak in that accent. Chris says, stop. She says, I'm not Australian. I think that that's aware now. Moving on.
It was very dumb. It sounded dumb. There's not much more to say about it. That's not how you use that word.
Let's get to Hannah G.
She's one of the ones that does something kind of fun. She brings Colton a box, a present, which inside, she says, has his favorite brand of underwear. And the reveal is there is nothing in there because Colton
Very, very cute.
evidently goes commando, which I respect.
I do not respect that.
I think it's weird.
That's disgusting.
You're right. Actually, I always wear MeUndies. Let's get ourselves a sponsorship, boys.
Tommy John. Give me the Tommy John MeUndies. Fucking JV bullshit.
MeUndies is incredible.
Shut up, Nick.
I'll put my MeUndies
Oh
up
my
against
God.
Tommy John's
How much
any
is a
day.
pair of MeUndies? Yeah.
$3,900 probably.
Okay, all right.
They're very expensive.
$39.
They're
Yeah,
really-
you know what Tommy John are? $45. That's expensive.
I bet we're right in line with you. Use promo code Nick to get your MeUndies.
Use promo code DILFACE to get yourself a pair of Tommy Johns.
Use your promo code Patty Pants.
To get Hanes.
Let's move on.
James shows up with a picture of his dog framed.
Very scary.
Total
Very,
loser.
very scary. Let's move on to Catherine, who cements herself as the villain in the short term. Demi, I think we all know, will be the long con villain, but
Demi Rogato, Mr. Roboto. I don't know why I just had to say
tonight
that.
It is Catherine. She gives him her dog, which I think that's a move that comes from the brain of Catherine. I don't think that this is producer intervention. I think that she wanted to do this, and I think that she was hard to convince otherwise because of the amount of downers she's on. I don't think she was thinking clearly, and she does hand her animal off to him as though that's a good thing.
I have some thoughts. As you know, as a Christmas gift, I gave both of you a quick read of the 48 Laws of Power.
Yes.
I think it was, what do you call those, the skim notes? Or
Yeah. Cliff Notes.
Cliff Notes, yeah. What she's doing there by giving the dog away is saying, now you own this dog too, trying to message to him that now this is a family. I know this sounds odd, but this is psychologically, this is what narcissists do. By the way, did you catch what her occupation was?
No.
DJ.
Oh, I did see that, yes.
Okay.
She's another one whose lips are out of control.
This is a Vegas, like, busted out narcissist who wants to be on TV. You know what she reminds me of? I know you guys aren't big fans of the Real Housewives franchise. Kelsey Grammer at some point made the mistake of marrying a chick named Camile Grammer, famously on Beverly Hills Housewives, a complete narcissist, compared herself to Jesus on multiple occasions.
Yeah.
I'm going to call her now Camile Grammer. Her name is no longer Catherine. It's Camile Grammer.
I love your nicknames more than anything in the world. I mean that with all my heart.
This quite possibly is the most specific ever.
Yeah, it's really, really good.
I agree with Patrick. It was somewhat psychological warfare,
Yeah.
a very savvy move in my opinion. Also, dog 10 years old. I think she'd really hit the jackpot if it died under the care of Colton. He'd very much be indebted to her. So, Lord willing.
That could have been a move.
And she could also sue.
She could sue.
Yeah, that would be good because she is not going to last very long in this competition.
Not Colton, that empty bag. Go after that son of a bitch, Chris Harrison.
All right. Yeah, I don't want to harp on her too much, but I said early on in the podcast this woman is incredibly stupid. Courtney, the anteater, she says that she just wants to make sure that Colton knows that she's not a piece of fruit.
She does look like an Annie. She looks like a smaller version of that Britney chick from last year, who also looked like an Annie.
Moving on, we have to.
Aaron she's the Cinderella, the final one.
But before we get there, we do have to go back to Lansing and see two even yuckier people get married. The guy that holds the antenna up for 45 minutes and his second trimester wife. Again, why are we seeing ugly people get engaged on television? We don't know who they are.
Another hot take. Now Bachelor is pandering towards, I already said young people, but now people with no attention span. So you need to keep cutting, keep bouncing around. That's the only way you can keep the attention of young people. God damn you, producers. I hate you. I hate what you did. This show, when I was watching it, first 5 minutes in, I told you this, I admit I almost thought of committing suicide.
Yeah. Hilarious.
I wanted to kill the producers, kill Colton, and kill myself. And I mean every word of that, at least the first part.
It's crazy. I said it in the beginning of the episode, but this was an abuse of power. They went right up against the line, crossed it for many Americans, many innocent Americans like myself. All right, let's go inside the house. Colton greets the girls and is immediately taken away by Demi. Again, I kind of like her right now. I'm sure I'll hate her soon, but I like her right now. Is there anybody you guys want to talk about?
Just during that toast that he gave, I can't believe that he mentioned Becca. Like you got to talk about ex-lovers in front of your 30 new lovers.
Yeah.
Or potential lovers. I guess he has no lovers, actually, now that I think about it.
Right.
Nick, we've watched this show a few cycles. This is actually a staple.
Yeah,
you have
yeah.
to acknowledge the ex. I was okay with that. I just didn't think he worked the crowd really well.
How could he?
What are you trying to say, Del?
He's a fucking club hammer of a human being. Erica McNutt. We glossed over it. I do want to say that was a wonderful thing that she did, handing him a large bag of nuts, because that's a welcome sight.
You know my affinity for protein.
Yeah.
Can I say something, though, that she did a move here? It's kind of a power move, but I don't like it. So he has to remember everybody's name. Girls are pulling him aside. And do you remember what she did? The first thing she says when they sit down?
Do you remember
my
me?
name?
No, I don't remember your fucking name.
Well,
because-
Demi asked the same thing, and he remembered Demi's name.
well,
Which
she
was
the-
impressive.
Well, wasn't she? She was the first girl out of the limo or something.
True.
She's also a ball of sass.
All right, fair enough. My point is, like, don't put The Bachelor unless you're doing a power play. Like, I want to be in control of you.
Don't
with this.
put The Bachelor. What the fuck are you talking
I'm just
about?
saying. I'm just saying. I'd be angry if I was him. Like, hey, I don't need this kind of
Get
bullshit.
the fuck out of here.
I didn't like it either. I think a conscientious move would have been like, hey, I'm Erica, if you don't recall. Just
Yes!
right off the bat.
Yes, already on a bad footing here. And then what she did next, I thought was even more annoying.
So I'm just gonna straight up ask this.
Yes.
Everyone knows you're a virgin.
Yeah.
So I want to know why.
For me, growing up, it was sort of a conscious decision at first. And then I started really diving deep into my professional career. And my personal life took a back seat.
Okay.
And now that it's happened, I'm not gonna just randomly lose it on a one-night
Yeah.
stand. It's not like I'm waiting for marriage. I'm waiting for the right person. I'm waiting for the right moment.
Okay.
It's just very important. It's just very important to me, and I hold a lot of value and a lot of stock into it.
It's special.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
It
you should
definitely
keep
is.
it special.
For sure.
You know.
For sure.
Because Lord knows, professional athletes absolutely have no time to have sex
Yeah.
while they are performing at peak levels.
It's not something that's done. When people like Charles Barkley hit a new city, they don't have time to call up their wranglers to get whores to their room. That doesn't happen, ever. They don't have time.
What kind of Renaissance man could play football and then at night have sex with a woman?
It's unrealistic.
It's unrealistic. So it makes sense.
I mean, thank God he held back and didn't focus on pussy so he could work on his professional career playing football and then be retired at the age of 26, but not because of an injury.
If he wouldn't have been in the NFL all that time, he just would have been crushing it. But again, too much time spent on the career.
We need to move on to Caitlin, who gets the first kiss of the night. And
Miss Carolina, right?
yep, this is not a kiss that she goes after. This is a kiss that Colton grabs up. He just takes her head, goes in for the first kiss of this here season.
Again, who are you trying to convince here, Colton?
All right, back to the studio. And back to the house, because nothing is going on worth talking about in the studio.
Oh, wait a minute. Hold on.
yeah.
Hold on. How about I had like a list of time-wasting moments during this entire endeavor, and I put down it's a trailer of a thing called A Million Little Things.
Oh, yeah. A Million Little Things is ABC's answer to the popular wave that is This Is Us. Million Little Pieces is a show about a man who helped his friend go through cancer, helped his friends navigate their love relationships and their careers, and then jumps off a building. They then have to deal with the suicide of this man who, I always forget his name, but
Ron
he's
Livingston.
Ron Livingston, and
His sister is actually a local newscaster in my hometown of La Crosse, Wisconsin.
Yeah.
He's from Wisconsin. And she went viral for lashing out against fat shamers. Said
it.
she couldn't be bullied, and now she's eating herself into oblivion
all right.
Come get me, fatso.
with a bunch of support behind her.
So we need to move on. we have talked about the waltz. We've talked about the sloth. You think that she's an alcoholic. But the sloth is unmasked. And then we get to Catherine, the puffy lip DJ, who ironically says that there's not a lot of depth to the other girls in the house. I'll say it again. This girl is on Xanax, and she is from Fort Lauderdale, which is a filthy, disgusting place. And that's about all the depth that Catherine has. Yeah.
Yeah, I wanted to do like a really convoluted analogy. Like if you were a public pool, I'd be comfortable taking my toddler into you because that's how shallow you are, Catherine. I nailed it.
Easy. Now, however shallow Catherine is, she is the star
Camile
of...
Grammer.
This is gonna be tough this season, but we'll get it. We'll learn.
However shallow she is the star of the episode. She gets her claws into Colton after this conversation and then proceeds to interrupt, I think, a record 4 conversations this evening. Okenua, sorry, I can't get her name right. What's her name?
Camile Grammer.
No, the Nigerian.
Oh, who gives a fuck?
She's the one that has a huge problem.
Anyaka Chukwu.
She has a huge problem with what Catherine is doing, and snaps on a snorkel to give her a taste of her own medicine. What does she say? She's swimming in a bunch of bitches or something?
Drowning in bitches.
Drowning in bitches. That didn't make any goddamn fucking sense. Colton was very confused, as was Catherine, but she does get up.
I want to explain to the ladies during this cocktail hour, let the evil villain person do their thing. Like, Colton hates every part of this. Imagine being interrupted 4 times. You know, again, she's not the hottest chick there, and she doesn't have a real good rap. Like, let her dig her own hole, I guess is my point.
Absolutely. I wrote down that she's doomed to fail. Anybody who loses sight of the Bachelor or Bachelorette and focuses their attention towards other cast members is surely going to flame out eventually.
And I also had a note, gay guys especially hate this.
Never argue with an idiot. From afar, people don't know who's who.
Okenua, you're not the goddamn fucking police.
Oh, who made you mayor of the Bachelor Mansion?
Yeah, who gave you a badge? She takes her aside and has a chat with her. They have a very good conversation, but alas, Catherine interrupts again.
Baller fucking move.
Absolutely. Or one that, when you're numb on prescription drugs, you kind of have a bad short-term memory. So I think she just forgot the conversation entirely because she's blacked out.
She's got the perfect mix of Corinne Olympius and Crystal. You know?
Yeah.
She got the vocal fry.
I think she's got it's like a mix of...
some substance abuse.
I think it's a mix of Corinne Olympius and Courtney Love.
And, of course, Camile Grammer.
The narrative of Catherine stealing him away is spinning throughout the house, though it does not mean that she's going to meet her demise this evening. She is a producer's pick. She will be there for at least a few more weeks. We go back to the studio, and we cut back to Sammy in Park City. This is when Ben Higgins comes out. This woman sounds like she's Randy Macho Man Savage. I mean, it's insane. She's
let me tell you, amazing.
She's like, no, I'm a Ben girl.
Oh. Yeah, by the way, the world is not doing Ben Higgins a service by keeping this 15 minutes dragging along for 4 years.
Did so well coming out of that crowd and taking a look at who he had to rough, but... He handled it so well. She got down on her knees, tried to pull his pants down, suck his cock.
He definitely got laid later that night.
Hey guys, look, Dylan, stop loving this fucking guy. He's been single for 5 years now, no real relationships. He's rolling around town, banging a bunch of 24-year-old girls at these meetups and clubs and shit. He's a loser. He's a total narcissist.
Nope, he's the greatest that's ever graced the stage of this here show. We've got to move on. He spends some time with Katie, I think.
Yes,
the
that's
dancer.
That's the one that was the second package. They have like a girl behind her in the gym, and it looks like she's just pulling rope, and it turns out it's the weight of another person's body she's dragging behind her.
Yeah.
Great ass.
Disgusting. She says that she moved out to Los Angeles to become a dancer, and I have to say her moves are terrible.
I agree, Dylan. I am not a dancer myself, but in the initial package of her in the studio dancing around there, it looked pretty amateur. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
She was going incredibly fast, in my opinion, but again, watching on 2x speed, so I really do not have a sense of her.
She was not moving that fast, and she was shaking around like a drunk girl at Coachella. She was not good at dancing.
You're saying she's no Julia Stiles?
No, and that me talking about that did conjure up the movie that is called.
I can only think of Step Up right now.
Well, first off, that franchise, if that never existed, sir, we would never have Channing Tatum. So thank God.
It's not Step Up. It's Save the Last Dance.
Save the Last
Julia Stiles,
Dance.
sorry.
Yeah.
I apologize.
I brought up Step Up. That's the only one I could think of.
We've got to get to the first impression rose, which is a wild move that Colton pulls on the American audience and the girls in this here mansion. He picks is her name Hannah?
Yes.
Hannah.
Yeah.
Not Alabama Hannah.
Hannah looks she seems like a very, very lovely girl. She's just got a strange look to her. She looks a little alien. She's beautiful, but definitely like pulled from Mars Attacks.
I believe it comes from beady little eyes, Dylan. Beady little eyes is the problem there.
Yeah, I did not see this coming at all.
Me neither. She came out of nowhere. I thought it might be one of the two people that he had already kissed. But alas, Hannah gets the third kiss.
Yeah, I thought she was, I don't know. She handled it really well, but I don't think she gave herself enough credit. I mean, she seemed very, very surprised and very, very thankful that
was cute.
That he had given her that rose.
And gentlemen, I believe he mentioned why she was his choice.
Why is that?
She reminded him of home.
Correct,
Oh.
Nick Davis. She looks a little Reese Witherspoony to me.
I saw it. I see it.
Yeah.
I love Reese.
Yeah. Legally Blonde is one of the most rewatchable films of all time.
It's cute.
It's one of those that gets, we've talked about with Mean Girls, gets pigeonholed as a chick flick when in actuality,
so
just
funny.
good comedy.
Yeah, just a terrific comedy. All right, we have to get to the rose ceremony. While Hannah, the alien, may be there are going to be a lot of girls who are no longer. Pat, do you have a roll call?
Yeah, I do, but I want to say, and I thought this was very telling, before we go into the rose ceremony, we bounce back to the historical Fonda Theater where Colton makes an appearance. And in the energy in the room, once again, maybe it was they didn't announce him properly. It didn't seem like the ladies there were that excited to see him.
I think it was probably because they were just on hour 4 and everybody wanted to fucking go home.
And they can probably also sense that he is not a proper mate because of his lack of attraction to their gender.
Yeah, gender.
All I have to say about it, though, was very awkward. He was not good in front of the live audience, and it was a nothing burger. All right, are you ready for a roll call, sir?
Yes, absolutely.
All right, can I do it? Can you guys? All right, you motherfuckers better hit the music.
Hit the music, Dylan.
Hit the music, Dylan! Roll call! All right, this is who fucking stays! All right, here we go. We got Katie, that black girl that needs a nose job. We got Alex. She looks like a guy. Hannah B, no sash, beauty contestant girl. Black girl, Angelique or Angela, I forget. Kaiten, she was wearing a pantsuit like Rue McClanahan. I'll play that music on the next episode if she wears a pantsuit again. Annie, the basic blonde. Kirpa, that's the Indian chick that wants to look at his teeth. Heather, the skinny girl. Elise, the redhead from the 1920s that we didn't really see a lot. Black, Tasha. Courtney, I think she's black too. Basic blonde, Cassie. Basic blonde, Demi. Basic blonde, Erica. Cindy. We got Bree. She's also blonde. I forgot her name, but she's black.
Anyeka.
Anyeka, yeah. Basic brunette, Tracy. Latino girl, Nicole, who takes care of her brother. Catherine, who I've now dubbed Camile Grammer. And that's who stays. This is who goes home. Are you ready to hear who goes home?
In hindsight,
Kaylin also stayed. She was the very first one.
In hindsight, I think it probably would have been better to ask for a roll call of the people who just went home.
I knew it was going to go that way, and I was excited, and I like hearing both.
Yeah.
All right, I'll tell you who goes home. Can I tell you who goes home?
Yeah, go for it.
Roll call! Who goes home? Aaron, Devin, Alex, that was the girl from Boston who's a pill popper and a drunk and crazy. The sloth. Adriana or something like that. Tayshawn, Revion, that was the blonde-haired girl from Asia who I left way too early for my sensibilities. And Laura.
So,
Flawless.
not a lot. Not a ton to talk about here. I do want to say, though, that this is always the saddest part of the episode. Not that they get sent home, but that they've stayed up so late. They walk out. It is morning. They have been awake for probably 24 hours. And one of the girls is doing an interview saying how sad she is that she got rejected, and out come all of the girls who get to stay. They celebrate in the courtroom. They celebrate in the courtyard that she is standing right next to in the background. She turns and looks at the girls who get to continue on this journey, and she turns to camera and continues to cry. That was rough.
It was sad.
That was very, very rough. Let's get back to the studio. We finally wrap this whole thing up. We're finally wrapping this thing up. Again, we'll say it, very, very upset with the producers of the show for making us sit through what we sat through. And you know, even more so, they're not thinking about the podcasters out there. You know how fucking hard it is to cover this goddamn disaster that was the 3-hour premiere of this season? Shame on you. Shame on you.
Shame on you, you motherfuckers.
That is the end of this here episode. We're going to be back next week with more Hot Pod. Until then, hop in those iTunes ratings and reviews. Leave 5 stars. Please, it helps the podcast tremendously. And hey, we've talked about it before. If you're in line at the grocery store and somebody says they like The Bachelor, take their phone out of their purse. If they ask what you're doing, say calm down. Subscribe to the podcast on their phone and place it back. Then introduce yourself. It's not hard. Please do it if you're a fan. Follow us on social media at Instagram,
Another Bachelor Podcast.
Also, hop in the Facebook group with a lovely nest of baby birds who are there chucking up hot content. You think Pat's got hot scoops? These people, the hottest. Where do they find that?
Facebook.com/group/Another Bachelor Podcast.
Also, Patreon, a lovely, lovely place where you can pledge to support our show monetarily. Nick?
Yeah, that's right. We're finally signing up for this hipster welfare.
Yeah.
We put a we put a lot of time into this podcast, and there's actually some hosting fees involved. I mean, it's going to run us $600-700 a year to run this thing.
Yeah.
And we're just trying to break even and actually probably make $1 million because we have so many listeners. So go to patreon.com/Another Podcast Network and pledge, and you're going to get extra content from both our properties.
So
the reason I wanted to do the Patreon thing, because I want to speak freely on a platform.
Yeah.
And I feel like I'm being held back, but there I'll get to say what's really on my mind.
Guys, there is so much incredible content going to Patreon. We have lots of hilarious discussions before the show. We have conversations about us, about our lives. And if you don't think that sounds interesting, you're right. But it is funny. And go there and listen to it. And also, we'll be dropping other podcasts that are super hilarious, like my trailer of awful moments from tonight and our Nuts and Duds episode.
It is really incredible. I will say some of these Patreon episodes we're going to be putting out of just us chatting, they're really short. We banged out about 14 of them before we did this recording.
I thought you were like 28.
Yeah. And
about 28.
Who could forget our award-winning podcast idea that we've awarded the best podcast idea ever, Wrong Medium, where we will do incredible things to listen to, like perform magic tricks, play Connect 4.
This is too long for a Patreon read.
No, it is not. So sign up for Patreon at www.patreon.com. What?
/Another Podcast Network. That's us, by the way, guys. We're Another Podcast Network.
Guys, we will see you next week for another rousing episode of The Bachelor.
The second one's always better. We're always a little upset after this first one. I thought we did fine.
Give us time, America. You're pissed off, and so are we. We have yet to get to the juice. We'll be back next week. I'm Dylan saying goodbye. Nick, say goodbye.
Goodbye.
Pat, say goodbye.
Bye, guys.